quite cold here in Curtis, Ohio. I will let our official MC kick things off. MC is probably, there's much more to Mr. Doug Rammel. Not only is he our 2020 Distinguished Alumni Award recipient, I know he's like going to turn or try to mute me in some way, but he has been kind enough to help us through these virtual connections over, my goodness, it's been over a year, close to a year now.
Yeah, I think we've almost done like 13 or 14 of these things now.
Rocking and rolling. So Doug, welcome. If you wouldn't mind getting us started, that would be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Normally we go around the room and have each person introduce themselves and talk a little bit about when you were in the honors program. And then we have an update from Dean Apple, who will be, I think, probably very happy to share the fact that the semester is coming to a close. And we have a number of folks who will be graduating and moving on into their either grad school or next stage in life. And then we come back and actually start the program. But we got 5 great speakers today. So what we'll do is, if I could, I'll ask everyone to introduce themselves, but keep it relatively quick because I think we have a lot of things to discuss today. So Patrick, why don't we have you go first, since you're the next picture to me, at least on my screen.
Oh, you're muted. There you go.
University of Toledo. I am an alumni of University of Toledo Biology in 1991. I am here to support my daughter, Lucy. And so I work at the medical campus. I'm an assistant professor in the medical education department, and I'm an anatomist. So thank you for allowing me to be here, and I can't wait to see my daughter. I rarely get to see her anymore, so this is nice. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Well, welcome. My daughter just moved back from the University of Cincinnati, so I know exactly what you're talking about, not getting to see them. So, Andrea, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, though you don't need any introduction?
My name is Andrea Franklin. I'm a development officer with the UT Foundation. Many of you have received emails from me recently, and you will probably get more in the future as we continue our relationship. I assist Heidi with the Honors College. It is by far my favorite, but I also assist with the College of Arts and Letters, Natural Sciences and Mathematics, and Health and Human Services as well are also my assigned units that I assist with fundraising and development opportunities, mostly around engagement, such like this, that we are able to connect with each other and really build our honors community. If you haven't already joined our LinkedIn group page, please do so. It's a really great way to stay up to date with what's going on with the Honors College, stay in touch with Heidi as well as myself. So we're really working on building that community. And like I said, some of you are already there, but if you haven't done so, please do so.
Cool. Renee, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I didn't know I'd be introducing myself, but happy to do so. I'm Renee Heberly. I teach in the political science department, so I'm here to see all my grown-up peeps and hear about what they're doing. And I really welcome the opportunity to keep spreading the word about public service in the College of Honors. And yeah, it's a pleasure to work with everyone in the college.
Great. Well, welcome. Josh, not that you need an introduction, but you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Doug. My name is Josh Martin. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Services here in the Honors College, also an alumnus of the college back in 2009. But more excitedly, I had the pleasure of working with these absolutely wonderful graduates. I'm just so excited to hear, kind of catch up with them and see, what amazing things they're doing right now.
Cool. Sydney, you want to introduce yourself? Oh, I'm sorry. You're one of our panelists. So hang on one second. I'll come back to you. Donovan, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, my name is Donovan Nichols. I am an alumnus of the Honors College, and I graduated in 2004, then got my master's in 2006, worked in student affairs for 15 years and recently left last year. I am a doctoral student at the University of Toledo right now, starting my dissertation, which is on work-life balance. and I also do professional speaking on the side. So I'm happy to be here and glad to see some of my former students in the room and excited to hear from them.
Cool. Jason, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jason Saunders. I'm a 2010 graduate of what was then the College of Arts and Sciences and the Honors Program. I am currently in Richmond, Virginia. I work for Virginia's Department of Planning and Budget, so I was just excited to hear about other UT Honors alums that are working in public service and always building that network. So nice to see everybody.
Good. And then Quinton, you want to introduce yourself?
He's a panelist.
Oh,
I'm up twice.
I got you. That's what threw me off. Okay. Well, Heidi, Dean, you want to introduce yourself and then talk a little bit about the program?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Heidi. You guys know me, Heidi or Dean Apple. And we had the pleasure this past Saturday of giving medallions to 62 honor students from all colleges. And Anna was one of them, so that was great. We continue to have a large program between 800 and 900 students from all majors on campus. And we have important campus partners in that. And it was great to see Renee here as well, because all those people who supervise the honors theses along the way. This particular meetup of students is of particular significance to me because I arrived here in 2016, and this is a group, was kind of my first cohort that I saw through this process. And as we developed our curriculum with increased attention to the importance of community engagement, many of them were moving their way through there, and I actually got to teach some of them in a course. So if you want to call them peeps, if you want to call them whatever, but I'm so proud of all of you and what you've accomplished. And I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that today.
Cool. Well, actually, Heidi, you know these folks much better than I do. Do you want to introduce them and have them introduce themselves and tell a little bit about what it is they're doing?
Oh, no, I think the MC should continue.
Well, fine, then we'll go. Quinton, since I already called on you once, you want to go first? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you're doing and how big is the mayoral job?
Sure. So I'm an honors college graduate in 2018. I did economics and mathematics and disability studies. And then I got my master's at the University of Toledo in economics. I've been mayor of Oak Harbor, I believe it's 3.5, we've elapsed 3 years now. Before that, I was on council. I was elected there for 3 years. And then as of right now, actually my tenure is coming to an end here shortly, but I'm currently deputy director of the Board of Elections in Ottawa County. So that's a very interesting time to be involved in elections. And it's all good stuff. And really what I think I like doing and what I like most about being mayor and what I do sort of ancillary to that is I help organizations and communities sort of, be who they want to be, right? Or in some cases, figure out who they want to be. And I found that work to be really rewarding and challenging, which, keeps it interesting.
Gotcha. Lucy, you're next on my screen. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm glad to be here with you. My name is Lucy Frank, and I currently serve as legislative assistant to Councilmember Emmanuel Ramey at Columbus City Council. I am a 2017 graduate of University of Toledo, political science and French with honors. Don't ask me to speak French though. Didn't keep that one going, but kept the political science degree going. And so, yeah, I've lived in Columbus for 4 years now and have worked at Columbus City Council for these 4 years and have had quite the experience. Our office oversees 3 different committees here at Council: administration, environment, and public safety. Public safety is a newer one, but I was just texting Sam Duling earlier this week to express how difficult public safety work is at this time. And so I have been thankful for that immersion and experience so far this year, but it is a lot to handle. So with that, with our environment work, we also do a lot of work with welcoming and inclusion for refugees, immigrants, and new Americans. And so I've been really excited to work on some of these big policies and big projects the last few years under my boss's supervision and support. And then the last big thing I wanted to share, because I'm really proud of this work, is that last year, Columbus City Council went through a process to pick out our first ever 9-district council map.
Oh, wow.
So far, we've been at large forever. And so now we have a map that will start for the 2023 elections. And I was one of the co-leads on the project. And so we're really excited that even though the process wasn't exactly perfect, I don't know what mapping process would be. I think it's went a little bit better than the state process. So I'll take what I can get. But yeah, so that's a little bit about what I'm doing and then why I'm in Columbus.
Great. Well, welcome. Welcome. Sydney, you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your honors college background as well as your professional?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. It's really exciting to see so many of you again. So I'm Sydney Jones. I graduated 2019, political science. I had a really great experience at UT, especially with the honors program and everything that it offered. And so right now I am working as the research director for the Ohio Democratic Party. I spent a couple years previously living in DC and LA, but I found my way back home last July to come work for the state party here. And prior to working at the party, I've have some experience in local and federal campaigns and government. So kind of have some experience on both the official side and the electoral side, which has both been really fun in their own ways. So right now I'm working as a research director, and my primary role here is I'm just running a research team where we primarily do opposition research. So just holding our opponents accountable. Big things we've been working on lately are just redistricting and just certain like corruption that's been going on at the Ohio State House. So it's been fun to kind of dig into some of those investigative projects. So that's what I've been working on lately.
Cool. Sam, you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about the LSA?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's incredible to see so many familiar faces. And I wanted to congratulate Anna on graduating and earning that medallion. That's awesome. My name's Sam. I graduated with honors in 2017. I studied political science and economics. I worked on my senior honors thesis with Dr. Renee Heberly. And if I had known that you'd be joining, I never would have shared the link with you. So I currently work as a research analyst for the Ohio Legislative Service Commission, which is the nonpartisan agency that writes laws, conducts research, and staffs legislative committees on behalf of the Ohio State Legislature. And specifically, I am in the state and local government group, which is kind of a catch-all. You know, there's a health group, there's an education group. Mine's a little bit less specialized. I tend to work on things related to veterans, gambling, the occasional resolution, or maybe constitutional issues. And I'm very excited to talk with you. Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, welcome. And then last but not least, our current student government president, as well as graduating honors student, Miss Anna Walker. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna. I use she, they pronouns. And actually, Doug, I do have to correct you a little. As of Tuesday, I am now the former student government president. I finally swore in my not predecessor, the next student government president. Sorry about that. So yes, as everyone's mentioned, I am a current student. I'll be graduating next weekend with my BS in bioengineering. And then from there, I'll be going on to the Ohio State University to pursue an MPH in epidemiology. As student government president over the last year, I really fell in love with the ability to advocate on behalf of my students. I've done a number of projects, and I've helped guide other student government projects, specifically in areas like increasing disability advocacy on campus, as well as identifying issues that might be impacting our disabled students, especially. We've also worked to increase access to menstrual products across campus. There are a few bathrooms already that have them, but we're trying to get them campus-wide for free so that all menstruating students have that sort of access. And then just a number of other projects that focus on the wellness of our students. We just finished up Rocket Fest, which is our first Student Appreciation Week instead of day. This was entirely student run for students by students, and it was really an awesome opportunity to see these students come in and celebrate their hard work. We even ended the week with a rocket prom, which had almost 200 students attend, all dressed up, ready to dance. So that was a great opportunity. And I've also worked with the Ohio Student Government Association this year. This is a coalition of all the state student governments in the state of Ohio. All the presidents represent, or vice presidents in some case, but we work together, especially when there is legislation at the state level that can potentially impact students K through 12 and in higher education. So while we have been focusing on that in terms of, we sent a couple of lobbyists. I know some of my peers at BG actually went to the state to protest a couple of times. We also work on legislation that we're able to then send to our universities and say, hey, we really have these huge concerns with these House bills because they have a detrimental impact on our ability to exist as students or on the quality of our education. And then from there, our universities can use that and say, hey, our students are saying that this is a bad thing. You're hearing now from actual college students, not necessarily, oh, someone's niece or nephew has this concern. So it's been a really cool opportunity to learn more about how to empower others and also how to use my voice to speak on behalf of others when they might not have that access. And I hope to be able to use this as I go into public health to continue supporting underserved communities, especially in the areas of environmental epidemiology, where their living conditions or working conditions might not be the best and contribute to poor health outcomes.
Cool. Cool. Well, so the way that we normally run these is I start to throw out some questions and have everybody kind of react to them. And then we get into kind of a general discussion. So if you like, we have a chat box that's that you can have displayed if folks want to post things out there, links and those kinds of things. But I just want to start off by saying, number one, I'm incredibly proud to be on and be involved with this today. For those of you who might not know, I graduated from the University of Toledo in 1990 and was president of the student government my senior year. We did a number of things, like got Greek housing built and got the student rec center built. As well, but we also had to hike student fees by $50, and so that got my tires slashed one time. But that's beside the point. And then you'll be interested to know I was an intern with the Legislative Service Commission back in the day. So at one point, well, and then I guess too, also headed out to DC to write speeches for Dr. Lewis Sullivan when he was Secretary of Health and Human Services. So I wanted to be a politician at one point, and then grew up and got involved in a bunch of other stuff. So the rest is kind of history. But it's great to kind of see you guys and the number of faces and the different ways that you are all involved coming out of the honors program or the honors college. So it's great to hear. But let me ask the first question. There was an interesting story on National Public Radio yesterday, talking about different generational differences and willingness to either run for office or even be engaged in politics. And that subsequent generations, the baby boomers, were drawn for political service and all had dreams of being president. And then Generation X, there were fewer of us. And then Generation Y, there were even fewer. And Generation Z now seems to want to be getting involved in single issue politics or directly in grassroots organizing, but not in any kind of organized party politics or running for office. You guys are obviously the exception to that. I'm curious as to where those roots come from and how did the honors program or your experience at the University of Toledo contribute to that? Who wants to go first? Anna, I'm volunteering you.
All right. So I think the big thing for me is I'm a fifth year student. I've been here for a while and I've been able to see the regrowth of student government since I've been here. And then of course the slight decline when the pandemic hit and we all had to scramble and figure out how to lead our students and advocate for our students again from more of a virtual environment. And seeing last year especially that we had started to have a lot of great legislation get out there, but students didn't necessarily have all of the connections they needed or the resources connected to them that they were looking for. I wanted to step up because I felt like I had a great knowledge of those resources and of the systems in place already. So I would be the person who could finally connect all of those little dots. So I think for me, it was a big thing of there are a lot of resources and there are a lot of students needing those resources, but they don't always get to cross paths. So me recognizing this gap and seeing that I have the ability to bridge the gap was a big driving factor of, okay, well, I'm going to step up, I'm going to do this, and hopefully our university can grow and improve from this connection.
Okay. Quinton, obviously you're already running for office. I mean, you are the anomaly. Why?
Well, I think I would, although I think the narrative that you put forward is accurate, I would challenge it a little because the majority of offices in Ottawa County where I live are unopposed. People run your township trustees, your village council members. Nobody's running for those offices of any age group. And I think it's really living in it. I think it's a symptom of they don't make any money. They get hassled by the community because they're making policy decisions and nobody understands. Or just broadly, no one understands how local government especially works. And, I don't know that I really am very optimistic. I think if anyone's getting involved in politics, it's because they're naive. So I mean, that's where I'm kind of at, I do it because I really make an impact. I have a story very similar to what Anna said. I've had a lot of success in Oak Harbor. We have a riverfront project. There's some private landowners. There's always been talk about, getting easements to build a river walk, to have a nice public space downtown. And I have drawings from like 30 years ago of that. And sort of just because, I think we, several individuals, certainly not just myself, we're sort of all together at one time. We were able to build consensus. We were able to identify funding opportunities. We were able to get engineering done. We got a $500,000 line item from the state to do this project. So, we have impact, and you realize impact, it sort of keeps you around. So I think, certainly I think about redistricting and how poorly that's gone. And really, I don't think my faith in many offices has ever been lower. So I think, the only reason I'm involved today is because I got involved early enough that I was naive enough that and then saw some things happen and said, okay, well, even if some things are really bad, there's still like this little sphere in which I can make some good things happen.
Right. Sydney, how did you get involved, and how do you think your honors program, honors college experience contributed?
So I think I initially got involved. It was like kind of twofold. So similar to what Quinton was saying, I do think you have to be some level of naive to get involved in all of this. So I think I started at a time when I didn't fully understand the whole political process. And that's kind of what brought me in. And now I'm here still doing it. But the other part of it too was just out of personal, just out of necessity. So just being who I am with my identity and my experiences, I just figured that the only way to change my material conditions and the conditions of people around me was to engage in political work. I think that UT and the Honors College aided in that just by offering support and opportunities and experiences, in particular the lecture series, and just hearing people come in and kind of speak out their experiences and kind of just give an actual something we could witness and see somebody doing the work that they're doing. So that kind of just showed what was possible. So that's kind of why I got involved and how UT helps me get there.
Gotcha. Sam and Lucy, obviously you guys both are in Columbus, but you probably see two very different sides of one being the state capital and one being the city, metropolitan, and county. How has that impacted your view on government and politics, and how do you think that the Honors College contributed?
Lucy, you go ahead, please. I don't want to follow you. Wait, I will follow you, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to follow you, Sam. I'll get my part done first. So the reason that I got involved in municipal government, city government, is because of the Honors College and because of the political science work that I had done at UT. After the summer of my freshman year of college, I applied to 3 different things. One was to be a church camp counselor. One was some other program that I honestly don't remember now. And the third was with Larry Connon, Dr. Connon, to have some stipend for an internship during the summer. Some folks used it for research work, some folks used it for an internship. So the other 2 things fell through, and Larry asked me, what do you want to do with this stipend? We're giving it to you. And oh yes, Sam reminded me that it was an Ottawa, Canada program that I had applied to. And so Sam and I have been friends since freshman year of college and continue to be very close, and we're very thankful for that relationship. But so yeah, and I had an interview at HR and downtown Toledo, city of Toledo, and I ended up in the mayor's office. So I like to share that I have worked for 3 different Toledo mayors within 4 years. I interned for D. Michael Collins, who passed away in office. I worked for Paula Hicks Hudson, who is now the minority whip at the State House. I worked for her, I interned and worked for her when she was mayor. And then I was kept on, one of 2 people kept on in the mayor's office when Wade Kapsakavage came into office. And now he has just he ran and won his 2nd term in the mayor's office. And he and the folks in that office are really great people. And so it was hard to leave them to come to Columbus. But I did not think I was going to work in local government. I thought I was going to be doing more of what Sydney is doing, being more on the political side of things. But I fell in love with the sometimes mundane, but sometimes really exciting work. And I think what really changed my mind was I was in the office in 2014 when the water crisis occurred. The honors lecture series, I think Carl Rove was the gentleman that came in, and we got to meet with him, and I got to talk to him about the water crisis. It was a national news item in Toledo, Ohio. So anyhow, now I'm here in Columbus, I'm doing this work. It can be hard work, but it's really rewarding work. I think that local government is the most important. I know that state and federal is very important too. But we are the ones that fill your potholes. We are the ones that pick up the litter on the one you see in your neighborhood. We are the ones that help fund some of those human service organizations that help the people who are most in need in our community. So I'm really passionate about that work. I'm really thankful to be here at Columbus City Council. And I know that I would not be here. I would not be in Columbus without the Honors College and the direction of so many wonderful professors, including Dr. Heberly and Dr. Brexmeyer and just many folks. So sorry for the ramble, but I'm really passionate.
Yeah. Sam, you should have went first. So
I know. Yeah, I think that of all the panelists, I'm probably least qualified to speak to that NPR story that you heard, Doug, which I haven't heard yet, but I'll go listen to that. And I say that because I think of the panelists today, I'm most like a government cog, traditional bureaucrat. I'm not working directly for an elected official. My boss is the General Assembly, but I myself am, a bureaucrat or a technocrat or however else you want to dress it up. I think that the Honors College had a great deal to do with how I developed this passion and this career. First and foremost, fall semester of my sophomore year, I took Dr. Heberly's Intro to Political Thought. And that course, and this is in my notes, Dr. Heberly, this isn't because you're here. But that class really challenged me in a big way, how to write a good paper, at the college level, how to think about an original or well-argued or well-substantiated thesis, how to try to put your finger on how and why we operate in society and as a political community. This was just, I think what at first made me fall in love with the class was the rigor, but I also loved the opportunity to delve into these documents, some of them ancient, some of them more recent. And one of the challenges was, try to engage with these texts, not by Googling what other people think about them, but just by thinking with the text itself. I absolutely loved that. And I actually miss that, because when you go to grad school to study these things, then you have to engage with a community of scholars about what they think. And I found it so refreshing just to sit down with Plato and kind of fumble through it myself. Anyway, that was the first class, and the class that really shaped my college career and my graduate school career. And then, of course, I went on to take several more classes with Dr. Heberly and worked on my honors thesis with her. But otherwise, there were other experiences that were part of my honors college and departmental honors experiences. I worked for a summer with Lucy in Mayor Hicks Hudson's office. I actually participated in the Washington Center and lived in DC in the fall of 2015 and worked for a member of the House of Representatives. I had not a great experience in that office, which was very eye-opening. I'm glad it happened, of course. And from there, I thought that I would want to go back to academia and stay there. So I pursued a graduate degree in political science. And once I left with a master's degree, it just was very clear to me that I wanted to do something ethical with my career. I didn't want to dedicate my talents to just trying to make someone richer. And I wanted to try to bring my political science training to bear on how we can strengthen and protect democracy. So that being said, that's kind of how I got where I am at the Legislative Service Commission. And I'll just say, I think that with the research that I did with Dr. Heberly under Dr. Heberly's supervision on democratic theory and how I was able to develop that a little bit in grad school helped me understand that although I, in my professional role, don't operate as a partisan figure or advance any particular office holder's agenda, I like to think that one of the greatest threats to democracy right now is misinformation or, ignorance or, however we might like to describe it. And my job is to do the research and to make sure that our state legislators are best equipped with what is peer reviewed, what is factual, what is true in whatever sense we can try to put our finger on what that means. So it feels to me like a great use of my abilities and my training and my honors experience to try to bolster our democracy in whatever way I can by giving my bosses as many facts as they'll let me give them. Thanks, Doug.
Cool. So now let me ask you this. You guys are all relatively young in your careers, but you all, Anna, with the exception of yourself, all established in your career. What's been your biggest learning since having left school? Where has theory been different than practicality? And what do you wish you would have either known or been instructed on in school that would have prepared you for that difference in reality? Mayor, you want to start?
Sure. I think anything that gets done in the world is done in an organization. And I think frequently what stops a lot of people I work with is they don't have a good grasp. Not that I have a great grasp, but I maybe have a good one on how organizations operate and how, the people and the places and their relationships with each other and who you need to bring on board in a project and how you align a vision for a project or an organization. I think that stops so many projects just because people don't know how to work with those concepts. And so that was, although I think it's something I sort of been picking up on well, it's been the biggest barrier I've to get things done is making sure you have all those people and relationships in line. And I don't know what kind of class that is, but but one of those things where I think any job, even if you're a technocrat, those relationships mean everything for how you're advancing any agenda.
Right. That makes sense. Sydney, anything you want to contribute?
I definitely agree. I think like the biggest goes my headphone. The biggest difference between college and then starting my career was just managing, like dealing with people, managing relationships with others to try to accomplish something. I think like you really can't control what others' ambitions are, like their reasons for being there, and sometimes that hurts the overall goal of what you're trying to do. So I think that was like the biggest eye opener after leaving school, was just managing different relationships in a workplace.
Right. Gotcha. Sam, you want to go first this time?
I think that's a tough question. What was shocking about, does it have to be related to my career, or could I just speak like as an adult?
Oh, well, all the above.
I mean, as a young adult, I'm still so young, right? I would say one thing that I got to take advantage of so much in college was travel, usually related to coursework. Sometimes, like once I went with Dean Apple to the Galapagos Islands as a political science major. So I'm very glad that she took me. Evolutionary biology is very cool though. And I think that it's striking to me how much college instilled in me a desire to continue to go out and experience different cultures and learn and be a student of the world, a citizen of the world, and how difficult it is to continue to do that once you've begun working once you have a career.
Right.
Especially if you're not working within an academic calendar, and it's not a matter of not having vacation time. Speaking as someone who accrues some vacation time, it's just a matter of whether you're able to get away from your desk, whether the projects will cease for enough time. What are the other demands of life? Like, it's just hard to do. So I wish, it's just been quite shocking to fully apprehend and appreciate how small the world can get outside of college.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a very sharp comment. Lucy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think my fellow panelists have shared some really great insight to this question. I think the only thing I can really contribute is I remember going to, I think Dr. Broxmeyer, our last year in the political science department, was hosting some conversations. He'd bring in somebody who was a professional in their field or had research they wanted to talk about. And I remember sitting in those classrooms listening after hours, he was great. He did class credit for attending these things, but there weren't that many people. There was never the amount of people that I thought should have been in the room. I think that the University of Toledo offers so many scholarships and internship programs. The Washington Center is a great example. I didn't spend a semester in DC with the Washington Center, but I did do one of their 2-week programs at the 2016 Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia, which to credit that program, I have a relationship with one of the state party leaders that I would never have known him had I not gone and been an intern, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed intern in Philadelphia, under 21 years old, helping staff at bars and doing some of this really important work of networking and supporting the folks who then make those votes in the important rooms that we all think about and talk about. But I would never have been able to do that program had I not had scholarship support through the Honors College. Dr. Heberle's Inside Out course that I got to take, which if anybody here doesn't know what those are, and I believe Dr. Heberle would speak more eloquently to this program, but for me, it was an opportunity to take a class inside a prison and it was half students, half prison population. And we learned together, we read books together, we wrote papers together, and I learned a lot. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is, one, if I didn't go to the University of Toledo, I don't think I would have had access to those kinds of programs. Toledo just is really special about that. And so whenever anybody asks me, I tell them, it is going to be what you make it. If you take advantage of that internship, if you take advantage of that, of signing up early for one of those courses that fill up pretty quickly, if it's getting a free ticket from Dr. Apple to go to the Distinguished Lecture Series and be able to meet somebody, you know, ahead of the conversation, those are all such good, unique opportunities that will change your perspective, will change your mind, and might introduce you to something that you end up doing as a career 3 or 4 years down the line. So I can't speak highly enough about these programs. And I definitely think that we should all be a part of highlighting those when we can.
Cool. So Anna, what did you learn in your year of service in student government? I mean, obviously you had been involved in student government before, but I know to be sitting in the big chair makes a big difference. And what pieces of advice have you shared with your successors?
Yeah, I think the biggest one that is always being told to students, and we always somehow find a way to not listen, is learning how to delegate and learning how to take care of yourself before you do all the other responsibilities. I know I always ignored that advice because I'm like, oh, I can just do myself. It's fine. I don't need to go to bed yet. And this year when it was like, oh, well, I have to delegate because one person cannot physically do all of this and have all these conversations, was a really eye-opening opportunity. It also taught me how to bridge those introductions so that when I delegate and connect students to the administrators that they need to work with, I can do it in a way that I trust both parties to be comfortable in the relationship, but also that the work will continue to get done once I kind of step back and let someone else take that on. And I think that just goes back to prioritizing well-being of myself and my organization. If I'm burning myself out because I'm trying to do everything, I'm not going to be a good functional leader for the organization. And I'm not going to be able to do all the advocacy work that I came in swinging to do. So I think that it really was a great opportunity to learn that, okay, you have to learn to trust your people, and how you interact with those people allows you to start to establish that trust so that everyone in the organization can go out and impact instead of just one person trying to make that impact.
Cool. So now let me flip the table. Obviously, we record these conversations so that they're available to current honors students to review as well as alums. I guess I'm going to ask each of you to kind of respond to one or both of two questions. One, what one piece of advice would you give yourself if you were able to go back in time when you were in the honors college and when you were an undergrad, something that you wish you would have taken advantage of or learned about? And then two, what piece of advice would you give to current alums? Either things that they might be able, that you might be able to get from the honors college or our alumni situation, or what are other ways that you think that alumni could benefit from being affiliated with the honors college? So, Sydney, you want to go first?
Sure. So to start with the first one, if I could give myself advice back when I was a student, it would definitely be it's okay to just enjoy your life and relax sometimes. I think that I was so focused in college on getting to the next step and graduating and starting my career that I didn't give myself as much grace as I should have. And so I would just like to tell my former college self to give yourself some grace, and it's all going to work out in the end. And if you're that stressed about things, you probably don't have to be. And for alum, I would just say that it's important to stay connected with the Honors College and with UT, just to have that network of people, of like-minded people who have similar goals as you, and just to bounce ideas off of. I think it's really nice to have that community that I've been able to stay in touch with. And also just a general thing for other alum, that it's okay to change your path. If you started off doing something in college and you thought this is what you were going to do forever, it's okay if your mind changes or if you want to do a career shift, and that we're still also very young. So it's not too late to shift paths.
I'm chuckling because I'd like to think of myself as a young 54, soon to be 55-year-old. And I've changed my path about 10 times. So what we think we're going to be, my wife loves to ask me what I'm going to be when I grow up, because she still has this false identity that I'm going to grow up at some point. So there you go. Sam, you want to go next?
Sure. I'd like to reiterate everything that Sydney said. And as I said earlier, as much traveling as I got to do, I wish I'd done more. And I think my senior year of college, I prioritized being involved in these prestigious student organizations on campus like Mortarboard and Blue Key. And in hindsight, I wish that I had told myself to use that time to study abroad in Chengdu, China instead. Obviously I made the most of it. I just wish, work on your language skills, get out of the country. And also, to Sydney's point, I spent a lot of my senior year Friday nights working on Fulbright applications or graduate school applications. And that was kind of a double-edged sword. It got me into a really good graduate program, which has served me well. And I'm very proud of that achievement on the one hand. And it was also really good to get all of that hard work out of the way. But on the other hand, you should be as carefree as possible, when you can. I think that's, it's a privilege. It should be a right. You should go out and be a dumb college student or a free-spirited college student. Especially because college students who might be watching this anytime soon have had a college experience that is so significantly and tragically textured by the pandemic, and so there's fun to be had, and you should do that. And then to the second question, it's just a huge pleasure to do something like this, and hopefully it's useful to someone out there. I hope that moving forward, alumni can be as student-centered as possible. I wish that there were even more direct ways for alumni to be of service to students, and so I know that Dean Apple always knows, and so does Dr. Heberly, that if they ever have a student that wants to talk about a career in public service or graduate school or something, they can always call me directly. But maybe a way to do that and expand that to other graduate students so that we can be student-centered, because I don't want to be involved for my sake. I want to be involved for the sake of someone who's, in class and wondering, what do you do once you graduate with a degree in political science? Because that's a good question.
Quinton, you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I think everyone's had good comments. I think having a career is just applying the narrative to, a series of decisions that you've made. And I don't, we just all remake up the narratives on the fly as we're sort of making the decisions. And, there's a certain extent to which I think I knew that, but now living it, it's very true. And so I really just, I think I've always focused on, I don't know, at some point, maybe I have to change my strategy once maybe I get too old or something, but I've always focused on just acquiring skills, and I have skills that I think are transferable or useful or something like this. And I think that served me well. And I spent my I picked up a math degree, I think my third year of college. And so I spent my senior year learning, real analysis and complex analysis and topology and all this stuff. And has any of it been particularly useful? Maybe not, but there are times in my life I think this is just like topology, And Lacan is a French psychoanalyst, and his whole approach to psychoanalysis was topology. That's what he did. And so I think of things like those transferable concepts. So I guess, in brief, it's really I think about acquiring skills, and as I think Sam indicated, building relationships and, taking advantage of opportunities that help you build relationships and build skills and experience different things. And I think if you're doing any of that, if you're a college student and you feel like I'm building skills, I'm doing all right, you're probably doing all right, like.
Lucy, what would you like to add?
I too want to echo Sydney's give yourself some grace. I think that was really helpful to hear now in the current situation and the jobs we're in, but also to our past selves. I also want to just, I am only saying this because I think it's funny to me. Sam mentioned the Friday nights maybe working on the paper. He and I were working on the papers together. He was editing and finishing his paper, and I was starting my paper. So, anywho.
Those papers were for Dr. Heverly. Yeah.
you do. It's fine. But yeah, I think I support what everyone else has said. I don't want to add too much to repeat, but I will say for the alumni part. And I guess this is relevant to students too. One, I wouldn't say that being a politician is for everybody. Being in an elected office is, in my opinion, not for everybody. However, you can be involved in politics. That's for everybody. And to the whatever level and extent you want to do that. Outside of my job here at City Hall, I just stepped down this year, but I was president for the Franklin County Young Democrats in Central Ohio. I am the chief of staff and might be doing a different position here soon for the Ohio Young Democrats. I'm involved in the Young Democrats of America. And so even though I have this job, it's not 9 to 5, but 40-hour-a-week job working for City Council, at least my boss gives me the grace and the space to be involved in these outside organizations. I'm a member of the executive committee for the county party. And so you can get involved, even just showing up and volunteering. That if I have people, young Dems, come to me in Columbus and say, how do I get involved? Like, how do I get to what you're doing? Just show up and do some work. It does not take effort. It does not take much effort to attend a Canvas kickoff, to attend a fundraiser, to attend really anything. Show up and say, how can I be helpful? People get to know you. You'll get asked to come back again. And if you're really interested in it, you usually get pushed up into leadership positions. So show up and be helpful is that. And then the second thing too, I just want to say is Columbus City Council has internship positions. I oversee interns in my office. And so I would hope that as all of alumni continue on and we have these opportunities to support young students who might want to come into this work, I would love to have a UT student be an intern in Columbus. That being said, you have to live here and you have to be available. So Toledo has internships, the city of Toledo has internships. So just, throwing that back out there that there are different opportunities. And even if you are an alumni changing careers, you can still shadow. Shadowing is a good way to get into something that you do or don't want to do too. So.
Cool. Well, great advice, guys. I really appreciate the comments. Hey, Dad, I think Lucy's doing great. So congratulations on all that. Jason, I want to kind of call you out because even though you weren't on our panel, you obviously have been involved and you've kind of heard everything that everyone else has said. Is there anything you would add? You put some great comments in the chat room.
Thanks, Doug. I don't necessarily have anything prepared. I think it's one of the things that's been useful to me is kind of building on what Lucy said about showing up is showing up and then keeping in contact with people is also helpful because as you make those relationships, and as you do good work, then people think of you and they say, oh, well, hey, have you heard about this opportunity? And that's how several things have come my way. So I think that networking and keeping in contact is a good skill to have.
Okay, good. Okay, so final thoughts. Anything that people want to leave? We got about 5 minutes left. Any questions that I didn't ask or that anyone else wants to ask? Josh, you're normally good for a question. There's any thoughts or any stories anyone wants to tell about Dean Apple or anybody? Nothing? Okay, well, oh no, go ahead.
I can pitch in with a Dean Apple story. I'm sure there are many. We were on one of the boats going between the Galapagos Islands, and she knew that I was always networking for the next thing. And somebody on the boat happened to be like involved in a vineyard in California. And amidst all the grad school applications, I was considering woofing, because I thought maybe I just need to stomp some grapes for a while. Maybe that would be really good for me. And in fact, I know that would be good for me. And she was right there with me, trying to get me to make that connection. I didn't end up going to work in California on a vineyard yet, but the dream is still alive because of Dean Apple. And I did also just want to say, I'm so grateful that this panel discussion centers public service. I also think it's worth mentioning that, maybe it would be good for honors students to hear that we really don't have to identify, our self-worth just through the lens of our career, right? Yeah. Like, as a young adult, since COVID has started to taper away a bit, I've been getting more involved in a queer kickball league, and that has given my life at least as much meaning as public service. Maybe I shouldn't, maybe that makes me a bad honors student. I don't think it does, though. So I just wanted to say that.
Great comment. Well, what's interesting, I was going to throw out, I think one of the things that the honors program did for me when I was at Toledo was it opened up the world. I grew up on a small farm, or grew up on a farm down near Dayton, Ohio. I found out that there were a whole bunch of really smart other kids in the world who were willing to argue about the same things. I torture my daughters because I say that I was Big Bang Theory before Big Bang Theory made being a nerd cool. And so the honors program was really the chance for me to find other people like me and to connect in a very real way. And, Quinton, I think one of the things that you said that I very much agree with, I had always played team sports. So I understood how groups worked, and I knew how, the team psychology worked, but I didn't understand how work got done. Other than when I did work. And so, I thought it was really funny, Anna, when I first was student body president, I was convinced I was going to do everything. And so I was literally going, days without sleep, trying to do everything. And of course, realized that is impossible, right? None of us can work alone. We're not designed to be an individual animal, right? As much as Thoreau loved living on Walden Pond. I mean, so, learning how to work through groups and identify how to build relationships and how to build teams and how to structure organizations to be able to get things done. All of that is an incredible ability, whether you're in politics, whether you're building a business, or whether you're building a family and building a life. And so it's pretty fascinating. For me, the first group that really taught me that was the honors program. And it was a lot of the arguments that we did in the philosophy classes that I took. And that literally set the bedrock for me anyway, in my life. I can't tell you the number of times that I've used what I thought was the useless criticism of Jim Larson back in the day. And yet his words have come to haunt me because they were as true or even more true today than they were 30 some years ago. So great job. I thought this was an awesome conversation. I want to say personally, thank you to each of you for dedicating your time and your profession the way that you are. I hope that someday you guys will actually pay my Social Security. So please keep doing what you're doing and managing the things that you're managing. The future of America is in your hands, and it's great to see you do as well as what you're doing. So, Dean, any final thoughts?
No, I just thank you guys for being here. And, you know, we're actually going to be celebrating the 60-year anniversary of the honors program, which we kicked off in 63. I think we're going to start next fall with homecoming and then take it through maybe Songfest. And so I may be tapping, if you're interested at all in helping us plan that, please let me know directly. And some of you, I think I'll just directly tap and ask for help with that. Thanks for making us proud.
Great job. Great job. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Lovely seeing you all.
Thank you. Bye.